here we go again, guys. Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, six-time world champ, two-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me as well. And man, we ready to continue the saga one more time, man. But how you doing, dog? How you doing? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, Book. I'm back in good old H-Town, ready to talk about everything that's going on in the world of wrestling, combat sports, basketball. Your Lakers, officially the oldest roster in NBA history. There's a lot of stuff going on that I want to talk about.
It's a lot of good things about the old guys these days, man. It's all good, man. But I want to thank everybody inside the chat here along with us here today. We started an hour early, man, so you guys can get your feel of your AEW that's going to be going down tonight. Thought we'd do that, guys. I mean, know you guys like to get out early on Mondays, on Wednesdays. So we hey, this is all for you, man. But we going to get this thing kicked off with what happened in the world of wrestling, actually AEW, just a week or so ago with that death match, Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage. I made some comments about Nick Gage before that match as far as, this dude is, he's a real deal. He's a guy that, you actually made a comment as far as, man, was Nick Gage going to go out and be able to do business? And I said, man, of course, man, this is a huge opportunity for Gage. And I saw some comments. He was praising Chris Jericho, praising Nick Khan, Tony Khan for the job that he's been doing. So what do you think, man? Talk to me. What do you think about the death match?
Man, it was wild. I will say it was absolutely crazy. And, on national television, I wasn't sure how far they were going to go. Was this going to be a normal Nick Gage death match with light tubes and barbed wire and glass? I didn't expect to see as many of those things as we did. I will say I was completely floored by the main event. I said before, the hardcore stuff or the deathmatch stuff, not really my style. So it's hard for me to appraise if it was the best death match ever or middle of the road or not as good death match. I will tell you I was thoroughly entertained by it, though. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I can tell you that.
Nah, man, it's not something, like I told you, I've never participated in a match like that. I never, lobbied to participate in a match nowhere near anything like that. It's no way you can, of course, it's control violence, but there's no way you can go into a match like that without, stumping your toe on something and coming out with nicks and bruises here, cuts, whatnot. And I just never been off into the blood thing myself. But as far as it being entertaining, man, of course. Is it one of those matches where it's going to be a one-off? Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can put your body. No, I'm serious. I don't think you can put your body through something. But even though Gage, he pretty much does that. That's pretty much his match, right? That's pretty much what he does out there.
That's what he does
on the indie scene. And it's got to be rough. It's got to be rough on him. He's got to be feeling it, but he seems to love it. And there again, I always say it's a place in the business for guys like that. Everybody on the show can't be a Nick Gage, and I think that's what makes it works in a lot of different ways.
What did you think, though, of the one controversy that came out of it was a mistimed ad break for Domino's Pizza as Nick Gage has a pizza cutter on Chris Jericho's forehead. Just perfect timing, right? Domino's didn't seem too pleased by it and threatened to pull advertising. I haven't seen anything that they actually did pull the ad, but did you think that was an overreaction from Domino's?
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think Nick Gage went into that match with Domino's Pizza in mind.
It would be an odd thing to think about before the match. I don't
think Nick Gage say, "Well, does AEW got any Domino's sponsor, any pizza sponsors I should think about before I go out here and have this match?" No, I don't think. I think it was an honest mishap, honest mistake. But I don't think advertising should be pulled. Actually, I think when you find something like that, you try to make it work for you, opposed to trying to work against. Especially in today's, modern world with these young people, man. You don't want them to pull out on the pizza. So you got to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
So I think that's a two-way street right there.
Yeah, I mean, and I see some people in the chat right now talking about let me highlight this because I have a comment to say to this though. But Daniel Price says, from a marketing standpoint, as a company who sells pizza to families, they kind of had a little bit of a right to be upset, optics and such. But my thing is, they bought time on a TV 14 show where violence is in the little disclosure, right?
Look,
There's going to be violence on this show.
look. I'm not saying that Domino's didn't have a gripe or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying Nick Gage did not. I don't think intentionally go into this and say, let me screw up AEW's advertisement with Domino's Pizza by going out here and doing something stupid. That's what I'm saying. So I appreciate the comment, but I'm totally looking at it from a totally different perspective. And in the wrestling business, in a match like that, anything goes. Anything can happen. I mean, if they brought out a baseball bat, you think MLB was going to be upset? You know, I mean, I'm saying, no, I'm serious. You know, so you got to be. I mean, barbed wire. You think the lumber company is going to be upset? No, so you got to be able to think about certain things from a certain perspective, and that's just the way I'm looking at it.
And I'm also glad that AEW seemed to like back up Nick Gage on Twitter and social media after the fact, because I would hate for that to be the kind of thing that gets Nick Gage on the blacklist. You know what I mean? Because we know how sometimes a company can be. You're always trying not to get heat, right? And you know, if you cost a company advertisers, I mean, they could say, you know what, let's not book this guy anymore. I don't want to have to deal with that headache. But it seems as though the AEW actually backed him up on it, and you know, he didn't face any repercussions from the company for going out there and doing what they booked him to come out and do. Right? I mean, when you book Nick Gage, you want the light tubes, you want the glass, you want the pizza cutters, you want the blood, you want the guts, you want it all. And within 20 seconds of the match, Jericho was already cut open, right? He was already bleeding. I think within 45 seconds of the match, Nick Gage was busted open. I mean, it was a bloody affair for the whole time. I just can't imagine, when I was watching it, I can't imagine being Jericho at 50 years old, doing this kind of match, and then getting ready to go through that big pane of glass, right? Just what that must feel like. You know, it reminds me like Mick Foley going through the thumbtacks and things like that. I can't see how you can convince yourself like, okay, here it comes.
Yeah,
here we go.
Like you said last time, like Randy the Ram. You know,
Randy the Ram.
I mean, come on,
getting stapled in the forehead.
Exactly what it felt like in a sense, man. In Jericho, I'm gonna say, man. Let me get Chris Jericho. I got to give him his props, man. And Mick Jagger of professional wrestling. This guy went out and he brought it, man. He didn't leave anything, you know, in the locker room or anything like that. He went out and gave everything he possibly could to a match that is not his forte per se. And he went out there and did it for the love of the business. And the thing is, I know a lot of people, I'm looking in the chat, I know a lot of people, they hate those death matches. That's what I say. I hate those death matches. Like I say, I'm not the biggest fan of that type of match. But when I see something done artistically, I got to give it props. When I see somebody go out there and put their body on the line like that for the fans, to believe in something for just that moment in time, it means something to me. And that's the part of the business that I came up watching and loving. Like I say, I remember watching Hacksaw Jim Duggan here in Houston, Texas wrestle, and he's hit his head on the pole, and he was bleeding like, you know, and for me, I don't know if he gigged himself or if it was for real, but I do know I still remember that moment till this day. And I think that's what wrestling is, making people feel a certain way. This is like 40 years later, man. I still remember that. And it was one of those things, I think, what Chris Jericho and Nick Gage went out there and pulled off, something that people are going to remember for a long time, that AEW presented. Okay, let's look at it that way. We got to take a break. No, we got a super chat, but stick around, guys. We'll be back in one momento.
This is Booker T World Gym Arena in Texas City. the home to the Reality of Wrestling Training Center. It's a 20,000 square foot facility with more than 50 full-time students and wrestlers from around the world. Inside the World Gym Arena sits a 9,000 square foot venue set up for weekly shows.
From up top, 1-2 moonsault!
Where our students showcase their skills in front of a live audience.
What he's done here is awesome. He's created opportunity, and he's creating great talent, as you guys well know.
In the back, a full weight room.
6, up!
Complete with state-of-the-art equipment and personal trainers.
There you go. 2 more.
A full staff and office personnel.
One more.
Running the day-to-day operation. We have interview sets for TV production, promo classes, quarterly combines. We evaluate progression and team building. Referees, commentators, ring announcers, and live television production. At the World Gym Arena, we don't just teach you how to become a professional wrestler, but an elite sports entertainer. This is Reality of Wrestling.
Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Super chat. Well, see, we got one, man. What we got? Super chat. There it is. Boom.
We got the Cobra.
The
08 08609 with $5. How about a birthday shout out for the five-time champion King Booker?
Hey, man. Big ups, man. Big birthday wishes from King Booker, the most revered king of them all. Happy birthday, bro, and many, many more. And I appreciate you for checking out Hall of Fame, getting your champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Yes. Hey, before we move off the Jericho thing, I did have one other thing I wanted to ask you about it. When a match like that is featured in the main event of AEW on Dynamite, a lot of press about it. Some praise, some criticism, but it literally got the internet talking. Everybody was talking about that match, and they were tuning in specifically to watch what was going to happen. Do you think that would make WWE and other companies who are kind of no blood and guts kind of companies, do you think that would make them rethink that? Like, do you think WWE looks at that and says, you know what, that was pretty spectacular. It got a lot of people talking. I wonder if we should, think about doing something similar to a lesser degree. Obviously, WWE is not going to go with light tubes, but do you think that makes them think of that at all?
I'm not in the office or anything like that. I'd never try to, think from that perspective. But if I was a company, just say for instance, independent wrestling company, Reality of Wrestling, and I had a company right down the street from me, and they were popping the crowd, and they were making a lot of noise, I would try to, tap into that. I think I would. I think WWE is on a different level than AEW, especially from a, television perspective, as far as being a publicly traded company and whatnot. They got a lot of different things to think about, opposed to just going out there and having matches to where it's going to be, to pop the crowd. You got to think about totally different things. I think from a company's perspective, from a merchandising perspective, marketing on the wrestlers' perspective. I just think it's two totally different companies, and they're built two totally different ways. I think AEW has a little bit of a leeway to be able to go out there and do a little bit more right now, especially being a company that's just getting started. I always say, you want to put yourself out there as far as you possibly can, and then you let them say, hey, look at, man, y'all need to pull that back a little bit. You know what I mean? So if I'm AEW, I'm going to push the envelope as much as I possibly can. And if the network tell me, hey, guys, we need to reel that back a little bit, I'll say, man, I'm sorry. All right, I'm on top of it. But it's already out there. It's almost like letting the cat out of the bag. You can't get it back in. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, too? What you said just there about AEW is if you're swinging for the fences, one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to hit the ball out of the park or you're going to strike out, right?
Yeah,
you only have one of two options. Now, if you make contact and you knock that ball out of the park like they did last Wednesday, you look great. If you take a big swing and you had, remember the exploding barbed wire death match, and then that doesn't work out for you, okay, that's a strike. But
fall off the cage, you know?
Yeah, sometimes things don't work, but I do appreciate AEW for being such a young company, trying to, like you said, go big. Let's go big, guys. I mean, we don't know how long we have with this. We got to take all the shots and opportunities we have to create conversation, create buzz, and pop a rating and pop a crowd, right? And I think that they did that on Wednesday night. And is it something that I want to see every single show? No, I don't. I could go a whole nother year without seeing a death match because it was. Trust me, I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, no. Yeah, definitely, man. I'm like you. I don't want to see it on a regular basis, but to pop the crowd, to make the fans tune in for that night. I know they had 1 million plus people watching.
Yeah, I think like 1.2 million or something like that.
So that right there let you know it worked. You know, anytime you could do something like that and it worked, hey, you figure out what we're going to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, we have a
super chat.
Ryan Romano with the $5 says, good afternoon, everyone. Just dropping a tip to the channel. Many of my favorite wrestlers compete at the Row. Love what y'all do. Well, we appreciate that, Ryan.
Appreciate that, man. We got a big show going down August 14th. Summer Champion 7. All the championships will be on the line. All the stars of the Row will be on the card that night. So, guys, get a chance, come out there and check it out. I don't know. Right now, from what I heard, tickets may be capped. We may have capped the tickets at this point just because we don't want to get too many people in there due to this Delta variant. Man, we got to get this thing under control, man. We got to get this thing under control. My trip, Brad's trip, we just got canceled going to Vegas for, media day. And that right there for me is going to be a bad day. I'm going to be sick. I see on the internet on some of the sites that SummerSlam may be going back to the Thunderdome. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Thunderdome, all good. It was cool. For me, no people, I could deal with no people in the arena. It doesn't bother me. But for the guys that's got to go out there and perform in the middle of that ring, we need them, and we need them bad. Guys, if you have not gotten your vaccine shot, and I hate to be a Dr. Fauci here, if you haven't gotten that damn vaccine shot, man, get it, man. Get it so we can get back to the world, man. Get back to life. Because I'm ready to get back to making that paper, baby. And I need you guys to help me get it done. Seriously. But let's move on, man. Let's move on.
Well, real quick, what do you think about Jericho tonight? Jericho tonight with Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah, man, that's something, man, Hoovy. Man, Hoovy's a guy that's been in the business quite some time. You look at him, the photos of him, Hoovy's still looking good.
The juice.
Last time I saw Hoovy, he could still go, I mean, as far as his work ethic. And the thing is, nostalgia is something that I really don't think it ever dies. I really don't think nostalgia ever dies if you use it properly. No one in a million years expected to see Juventud Guerrera on AEW television, but Chris Jericho made a comment about him, just like, when I was beating up Hoovy 20 years ago on WCW television. That vision right there for the people like myself and the people that watched it, of that age, man, they said, man, wow, something happened. It's almost like the first kiss, you know what I mean? It was a song playing when you got that first kiss. So from now on, throughout the rest of your life, when that song comes on, that's the first thing you're going to think about. That first kiss, man, that was awesome, man. That's what this was like. Juventud Guerrera versus Chris Jericho. you remember that and you go, oh man, those are some good times. What, we gonna see it again? I'm in. It's one of those type of deals, man. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing Hoovy.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I remember Hoovy was down at Reality Wrestling for Summer Champions 5, I think. Summer Champions 5, just a couple years ago. He and Hooven, no, not he is Juventud. He and Chavo Guerrero had a match against each other.
Match too.
It was so
they
good.
Screwed the boys, man. They went out there and they were like so like, and you could tell. I know Chavo. He gonna be hot if he hear this. You can tell Chavo had a little rush, don't he? You know what I mean? He had a little ring rush, and so he said, "Wait a minute, let's slow this down. Get through this first part. Let me, get my wings up under me, and then we're gonna go out here and show them how it's done." And they didn't do anything that night, but they rocked it, man. Big time. Yeah.
They didn't. They literally did little to nothing. And I remember calling the match on the side, literally on the side edge of my seat, going, "Oh my God, this is so great!" And they didn't do anything, But their psychology was just at another level. You know what I mean? And I saw after that match, every one of the boys who was available, they called Hoovy over or they called Chavo over and asked like a million questions, right? And then that was such a cool moment. That was a great moment. And Chavo, by the way, on AEW as well. Chavo Guerrero's the new manager for Andrade.
Everybody's coming out to woodwork, man. Everybody want to be. I saw, on a poll that, I might be going.
You're one of the top 5 rumored names to jump ship.
Yeah, people saying, what
do you say to that?
I don't know what this. There's nothing I can say to it, man. But I'm locked in. I'm good. I'm happy. Yeah, I like being, on like looking from the outside, looking in. I don't want to be on the inside looking out ever again. I love my position. The broadcasting thing for me, kickoff shows, backstage, all day long. I'm in, man. But as far as they ever thinking about getting in the ring and doing something, you can forget it, man. Just pass me the 9-iron. All right, that's as far as I'm going.
No, I got it. It could be you and Nick Gage and a 9-iron on a pole match. That's what we could do in AEW.
Closest I'm getting to combat is 18 holes of golf. Okay, that's it. You can forget about it, man.
Closest you're getting to combat is putting on your GI Bro fatigues for a comic book fight.
Exactly, man. I don't want none, man. I don't want none of the smoke. But definitely, man. We still got a lot to talk about. Adam Cole contract coming up. He may be a free agent. Ric Flair, man. Ric Flair asked for his release and was granted that release. So, man, what's to happen now with the Nature Boy? Guys, stick around. We're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, do not forget to catch the second episode, actually the second part of the interview that I had with Will Ospreay tomorrow night. Special edition of the Indies with Booker T at 6 p.m. Central Time. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. Do it. I do it for you. Yeah, but what, man?
Nothing. Yeah, you got to check that out. It's coming out tomorrow, 6 o'clock Central Time. 6 o'clock Central Time. Indies, the first season. Hey, we got a
Super chat.
we got to get to from James Foreman. Says King Booker, who is your favorite wrestler from your childhood?
Man, from my childhood, who was my favorite wrestler? And I'm talking about as a young kid growing up here in Houston. It was a wrestler by the name of Jose Lothario.
Oh yeah, trained Shawn Michaels.
And he was the toughest Mexican man, and he had to beat up all of the Mexicans and all of the white guys and the black guys. He was just tough. I'm serious. And Jose was just he wasn't like the most muscular guy in the world, but I remember Superstar Billy Graham used to come to town back in the day, and his arch nemesis in Houston was Jose Lothario. The superstar versus the super sock. And man, it was some great matches back in the day coming up. Of course, Junkyard Dog was one of those wrestlers that made me feel a certain way when I watched him, because he was a brother and he was out there and he didn't take no jive, man. He was bad. JYD was definitely one of those guys I looked towards. But I never thought for one moment, I never dreamt for 1 second in my childhood that I would be a professional wrestler. So I didn't look at it that way as far as, man, I want to be that guy. I thought wrestlers back then, they looked like grown men that was in the bar drinking, staying up all night, and then would, fight, the next day. It seemed unattainable for someone like myself. So I just never saw myself as a wrestler. So I never really gravitated to, man, I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this guy. But there were a couple, and those were the two right there.
Okay, I like it. We got another
super chat.
That was the one before. Here it is. B Star with the $2. Harlem Heat shows up in AEW. Who are they gunning for? What team would you gun for?
The Young Bucks.
Why the Young Bucks?
Well, sooner or later, they're going to have to stop flying. And we're going to beat the hell out of both of them. You know what I mean? My brother, he's like, 300 pounds. I'm rolling in right now like around 235. We're literally legitimate heavyweights. My brother is on the super heavyweight side. And I just think if we were to if we could just get our hands on the Young Bucks, it would be a short night. If we could just get our hands on them. That would be the hard part, because they're quick, they're fast. You remember when Rocky, the first Rocky movie, where Mick says you need speed. You need speed. You need quick, grease, lightning, speed. And he had him out there chasing that chicken. That's what me and my brother would have to do. We'd have to chase some chickens for a while if we wanted to catch the Young Bucks. But once we caught him, you know what you do with a chicken, right? You wring his neck.
I would like to see it. Now like someone of the dirt sheets got to take this and be like, Booker T challenges Young Bucks to match in AEW. That's coming.
I'm just saying, if I'm coming out a tag team, I'm coming out to the top guys.
They're the champs.
They're the champs. If I'm going to come after somebody, I'm going to come after the top guys. They're the most popular guys out there right now. So of course, Harlem Heat, we won't. If you're going to print it, we want the Young Bucks.
Whoa!
How about that? How about that?
You just said it. You said it on this show, so it makes it fact. We got one more.
Super chat. Dude.
From Jamal Studemeyer says, hey, Booker, did WWE get the hint to bring Nakamura's normal theme music? Fans were singing along at SmackDown.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, man, Nakamura and the sound that he brought, that they gave him off the bat, the violin. I think they had like this black guy, this young black kid doing it at first. And I tell you, man, that entrance, along with guys like what Finn Balor does, the Adam Cole baby, that's what wrestling was, man. Fan interaction. And to take that music away from Nakamura from the outset. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of changing the characters and whatnot. But I think when you got something like that in this business today, like the Yes Movement, it's organic. It's different. It let me know what guys are separating themselves from everybody else. And I know the music had a whole lot to do with Nakamura's aura, but the music was nothing without Nakamura actually being able to go out there and play that role to that sound. I don't think anybody else could have had that music and had that same effect that Nakamura brought to it. So yeah, I'm glad they brought the music back.
What do you think of the guy who comes out with him, Boogs?
I hate it.
Okay, all right, we can move on.
I know that somebody gonna pick that up too, but
well, I'll tell you what. I don't mind somebody playing him out. I just wish, like, visually they made more sense together. You know what I mean? Like when you see a tag team, you want the tag team that, like Harlem Heat, you want to have the matching attire. You want them to make sense. Like, okay, they look like a team. This Boogs and Nakamura, they don't match to me. One looks like he's from like 1982, and Nakamura's walking out of here like a different. He's walking out like 1985 Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Nakamura's got the moves, got the leather, got the all this stuff, and then you got, I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't look right to me. It doesn't look right.
I don't know.
That's just me.
Yeah, I answered your question though. Right?
I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am. Hey, you brought him up. And it's something we got to talk about because everybody over the last 72 hours, I mean, they've been talking about the free agency. Not in the NBA, though. Even though that's been discussed, we've been talking about the free agency in WWE, and one of the biggest stars from NXT, maybe the biggest star NXT's ever had, Adam Cole, a former Ring of Honor world champion. Adam Cole, former longest reigning NXT world champion. His contract is rumored to be expired at the end of the month after SummerSlam and would make him a free agent. What do you think about this? Because Adam Cole, to me, he is the lifeline over there at NXT. He's someone who I thought maybe a long time ago would get called up to the main roster. We'd already see him in that Raw or SmackDown position, but nevertheless, looks like he might be done or at least a free agent.
I don't know if he's going to be done or not. I don't know if he's going to become a free agent or anything like that, but I do know I can't sit here and say, man, he wants out or anything like that. I know Adam Cole, he worked his ass off for a lot of years to get to WWE. I do know that. I do know when he finally got there, Adam Cole was like, man, I'm here. I'm doing it. I watch Adam Cole and what he's doing down in NXT, and he's doing a hell of a job. He's a guy that has a very, very bright future. Let's just say that. One thing about, just say, for instance, the rumors that's going around, and man, he may, jump ship, because I think he's married. I think his wife is working over there.
Baker.
Yeah, yeah. So
women's champion.
It's a reason to be there. But I'm gonna tell you right now, being around your wife, that much time. What, man? Sometimes that mic can mess things up sometimes. You know what I mean? One being on one side, baby, you go get that check over there. I'm gonna get this paper over here. We're gonna meet in the middle. We're gonna make it work. Let's work on our future. Adam Cole, one thing that he needs to know that AEW is gonna be there for him. Okay, it's gonna be there. So you better get what you need to get out of this for as long as you possibly can. And then if something happened, you think about what comes next. And that's just a quote from my brother. You do the job here to the best of your ability to whatever comes next. Now, if that's his choice, that's his choice. But I just think Adam Cole, he worked a hell of a long time to get to that point, and to just throw it all away because of what you hear on social media. I just don't think that would be smart.
Yeah, here's my thing. And the other night when Chris Paul, he opted out of his deal with the Suns, right? And it came across my phone. I was talking to my fiance. I said, "Oh, look, Chris Paul just opted out." She goes, "Why would he do that? He just made it to the finals." I said, "Well, he's probably just going to become a free agent so he can renegotiate a better deal for more money for a longer time." 24 hours later, Chris Paul re-signs with Suns for 4 years, $120 million, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what Adam Cole's doing, but as a free agent, you have a lot more leverage to negotiate a better deal for yourself.
I think so. I mean, it's smart. So you can read the tea leaves and think what you want to think. But I think there again, if he was smart, you listen to the old man. Hey guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I see we got one of those again, right?
Yeah. Let me pull it up here, and here we go.
Super chat
From Raylan Undeniable. Hey, Booker T, who is your favorite rival in the WWE?
Man, I didn't have a whole lot of rivals, I don't think, in WWE, but I think my most fun rival would have been, Christian. And I say that because Christian and I, for the United States Championship, I think it was the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah. Intercontinental Championship. That's the first time I won the Intercontinental Championship, the only time I won the Intercontinental Championship. But the run with Christian trying to get it was fun. Christian made me laugh a whole lot during that run on house shows. We would wrestle sometime, and just say, for instance, back then, you might could get a flight out that night, and go home, and you'd be wrestling Christian, and Christian would say, "All right, man, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, what I mean? 5 more minutes, man. You're begging it, man. Come on, man. Let's just take it home, man. Let's just take it home." And next thing you know, you're in the ring another 20 minutes and you miss your flight. And you're mad, but you can't be mad because it was a good reel. That was a good one. So it's little bitty things like working with Christian, trying to keep myself from laughing in the middle of the ring because he's telling me a joke. We standing right in front of each other, and talking to me. So it was a great time working with someone like Christian, man. He was a true professional, and he knew how to keep me laughing, and he knew how to keep the fans entertained at the same time. That's an art right there, man. That's a true art.
Well, can I ask you about that? Because one of the things that, I observed during a reality wrestling training session one time was there was a new guy in there working. And the main thing that all the veterans of the locker room were telling him is, you need to stop smiling. You need to stop smiling. When he was in there, it was hard for him not to prevent cracking a smile. To this day, I see pros on Raw, SmackDown, AEW, Impact. Every now and then you'll catch them smiling, And I remember one time Brock Lesnar broke character whenever R-Truth was in there talking, right? He started laughing. Couldn't help it. Is that hard to do? Is that a hard thing to prevent from? Because you're supposed to be simulating this combat between two guys who want to get the win and beat each other up, what have you. Is that a difficult thing to not smile, especially if there's an inside joke or something going on?
Well, if you're wrestling, that's one thing, and you're smiling. But when you're performing, sometimes you got to know it's a laughable moment, and if you don't go along with it and really try to play like it's like so serious, you really lose the moment of what it really was supposed to mean. So I think having laughter and banter, in certain parts, of I would say a match, certain parts of a match. Just say, for instance, I was working with who was it? Eddie Guerrero, and Eddie Guerrero used to always do that little deal where he would act like he's hurt or something,
right?
And guy would lax on him a little bit. Next thing you know, you get rolled up 1, 2, 3. So Eddie did the same thing to me one night, and I looked up in the trunk and I could actually see Eddie laughing behind me. So if I didn't laugh in that moment, a smile in that moment, the banter, would have been lost, even with the crowd, because I can't play like that's a serious moment. Even though Eddie and I had just had 12 minutes of some of the greatest wrestling that you had ever seen. And then we turned it into some banter at the end. I get to 1, 2, 3. When I walk out, everybody's laughing, everybody's clapping. So you got to know when to actually, go with it and actually be a part of, what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's just because I remember, who was it? I think Owen Hart was known for like telling people jokes in the middle of matches and trying to get them to break character and laugh. So, one of those things that I just wondered, is it a difficult thing? Because I know
normally that kind of stuff happens at house shows. You're not doing that on television. On TV, you got to go out there and work. But when you're at a house show and a lot of these towns, you're going from one to the next. You got to be able to entertain yourself. You got to be able to have some fun. Otherwise, it could be really, really lonely out there on the road. It could really be taxing at the same time if you didn't have that ability to be able to go out there and do that kind of stuff. So we always try to do something that would make ourselves just crack, when we were on the road. I remember one time a Hurricane was working this guy named Gunner Scott back in WWE, and we were overseas. And Hurricane goes, "Hey man, watch my match, man, with this kid. Tell me about, give me some feedback when I get back." They went out and wrestled, and then the guys normally watch the monitors and whatnot, checking the guys' matches out. And I told everybody, "Hey guys, everybody, let's get the hell out of here. Nobody's gonna be here when they come back." So when they came back through the curtain, we was all gold. Like that was the match was that bad. You know what I mean? So just to rib them, we all watched it, but we made sure when he came back through that curtain, there was nobody there. So to be able to have fun like that on the road, overseas, man, that's the stuff you remember.
Yeah, that I love that. When it's funny too. What was the guy that Bret Hart worked that was like that he had this legendary match with him, and they thought this guy was going to be the next Hulk Hogan. You know who I'm talking about? Man. They did a documentary. His name's I want to say Tom Lawler, but that's not right.
But I can't remember.
I can't think of his name. Did you ever see the little documentary they did about that?
Yeah.
It was really. I had never heard of the. Man, what is his name? It's gonna drive me crazy. But they played the match, and the match was excellent. You thought this guy was the next world champion?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good worker right there too. That can make you go out there and make a guy that can, that really can't perform that well. I always say, man, if you can go out there and make those guys look good, that's the guy that the promoter is going to be looking at. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So one of those things. I'm sure you have a million million house show stories of things like that, and it's just love hearing. You've probably forgotten more entertaining things than you did on television.
Yeah. I think my brother, I think they played me out to Leave It to Beaver one time when they was when they took my music, they took my tea back in the day. They played me out to Leave It to Beaver's music, so it's like stupid stuff like that, which is fun. It's kind of funny, at the same time, but that's what the business has always been about. I think that's what the thing. That's the thing that guys like myself remember more than anything. I'm gonna tell you, Hurricane Shane Helms, man, he got so many little stories in his head, man. And every time I'm around him, he started telling me all of these stories, and I'd be like, man, how do you remember all of that stuff? You know what I mean? And then every time he started talking about it, I start remembering it. It's so crazy, So heck yeah, man. But hey, man, that's the business, man. The business is tricky. It is tricky. Ric Flair,
talk about it.
The Nature Boy. Hey, man, he asked for his release. WWE granted it. Rick said, man, I got other business ventures that I want to actually be able to be a part of and actually get done. I can respect that. I totally can respect that. This one that I did not see coming. Ric Flair just signed a contract last year, 2020, and now he's opted out. What do you think next for Ric Flair?
Obviously everyone's like, well, he's going to end up in AEW, but
Four Horsemen reunion. That's what.
Four Horsemen reunion. Yeah,
They're gonna have to go find Ole Anderson, I think, right?
Yeah. There's been like 40 different incarnations of the Four Horsemen, so he can go get anybody and reclaim it.
Goldberg? No, I don't think he was in there.
Goldberg wasn't in it. Sting was in it for a while. Luger was in it. Steve Mondo McMichael was in it. Bunch of people. I could probably find a list. Barry Windham.
Barry, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they got some options. They got some options.
Yeah.
But I read also that he had texted Vince McMahon or something about Charlotte and wasn't happy with the way that she was positioned on the show or something. I don't know exactly why he left, but for some reason I don't see him going to AEW. Like, I really don't.
No.
And no, AEW already has a lot of veteran guys who are in that managerial role, whether it be some of his cohorts like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Jake Roberts, Taz. There's a few more, I'm sure, that I'm not thinking of at the moment. So I kind of think it'd be like just another guy. I'm not saying Ric Flair be just another guy on the roster, but I don't know anybody who comes to mind that he could really benefit unless he comes back. He comes back and does kind of a heel Ric Flair. Remember when he was in TNA, he did that thing called Fortune, I think it was called. And he was aligned with AJ Styles when AJ was a heel. And it really gave AJ a nice rub. If you bring him back and you can find him to be in the corner of somebody like a MJF or something like that, maybe. But hold on. But I don't think he's going to AEW. I really don't. He sounds like he's trying to start a television network, a comic line, all kinds of stuff.
I heard all of that. At least I read it. My thing is this. I'm going to let you take this into the break. Ric Flair is not the managerial type of guy. It's just not his role. As well as Ric Flair is not one of your guys that want to be in the office, coming to work every day, wearing a suit and, going into the office. That's not Ric Flair. Ric Flair is a party guy. That's just in his nature. You saw him on Triller. He's all about having some fun. Now, my thing is this. I talked to Ric Flair usually on a regular occasion. I don't know how often I'm going to see him now, but Ric Flair told me, he said, Book, I'm never going to retire. He said, if I could be in that ring right now, that's where I'd be. So I think Ric Flair may be looking for one last run. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. So the Young Bucks, I had heard about these guys, but I didn't know them or anything like that. And they had a WWE tryout. And these two guys, they were, hanging in the hallways. It seemed like they were, I don't know. They were kind of like off to themselves. You know, I don't know. I don't know. It just felt funny. And I was getting ready to do I was doing commentating back then, and I had my jacket, laid over this, piece of equipment, and I walked by, and one of the young bucks was leaning on my jacket, and I was like, "Hey, bro, that's my jacket right there," and he goes, "Oh, okay," I got my jacket and I walked off, and I was like, I didn't realize it, but they were there for a tryout, and I was like, man, after I realized it, I said something on one of the podcasts or our show or something. These guys didn't even shake my hand, and then next thing you know, it was a big thing going around as far as me not shaking the Young Bucks' hand. And then they started doing a thing online where, they wouldn't shake anybody's hand, and then, they had a thing with RVD,
right,
where they wouldn't shake RVD's hand. So I was like, man, you know what I mean? These guys are taking this thing to another level. Can't wait to see them. So I wanted to fight the Young Bucks. I want to get it to them.
You would have put hands on them.
I want to put hands on them.
Put those Fifth Ward beads on them.
Yeah. And we ended up running into each other at an independent show. And I'm still a little bit hot, And, so we end up talking and whatnot. And, we end up getting back around to what happened up in WWE as far as my jacket goes. And they go, bro, reason we didn't say anything to you, man, you're intimidating.
Sucker!
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking Nature Boy. Ric Flair asked for his release from WWE, and now he was granted that release. And now, what's next for the Nature Boy? Like I say, my thing is, Ric Flair is a lifer to this business. Ric Flair loves it, and I know when he watched the guys out in that middle of that ring, in his mind, man, Ric Flair is wishing he was right out there with them. I question, I wonder if the body could actually hold up for a match. But you know how the veterans are, man. We always feel like, man, our experience, our knowledge, somehow we'll be able to get through it. Don't worry about that. Taking a bump, man, that's like falling off, a bike. You know what I mean? You get right back on it and, keep on rolling. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but I do see Ric Flair somehow, some way trying to find himself back inside the square circle some way. I don't know. That's the way I feel.
I mean, look, anything's possible. I never thought we'd see Sting again. Now Sting is 62, I think, 62 years old.
Yeah.
Still a full decade younger than Ric Flair. But you remember when Mach came back and he was in TNA for one match? Do you remember that?
Yep.
And he did. I think it was like a 6-man tag, right? And I was so excited to see the Macho Man back in a wrestling ring. And then they did a gimmick where Macho was like, I don't know, he was like kidnapped or something like that. I don't remember the match. I don't remember the match. Something happened. But anyway, at the end of the match,
I remember Mach coming there, yeah.
I remember. Well, here's how the 6-man tag match ended: was Macho was like kidnapped or something, and then at the very last 90 seconds of the match, Macho comes in, he hits somebody with a line, tags out, and I think Jeff Hardy hits a swanton and pins, 1, 2, 3. I think that's something like that, or AJ. One of the guys got the pin. Could Ric Flair? Could you see him doing something like that?
Like what?
Being kidnapped for like the majority of the match and then coming in for a hot tag, hitting the line.
I don't know, man. You know what I do see? Sting versus Ric Flair. One last ride. Something like that, man. The nostalgia of it. It's like for me, just to have Steamboat Savage in the middle of the ring, for a photo op, for me, that's worth its weight in gold. It's worth the price, of a ticket. So I don't know. I think that again, nostalgia. Ric Flair and Sting, ceremonial match. Almost like two of the great golfers Arnold Palmer, Jack, kicking off the ceremony, the Masters. What?
Okay, keep going.
I'm saying, you know what I mean? That is, some kind of big show, some WrestleMania type like deal. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, we have a suggestion in the chat. What do you think of this? Wait, where is it? Sting and Darby versus MJF and Flair.
Oh, there it is. There it is right there. There it is right there. Something like that.
I don't know.
You see something like that working.
I love Ric Flair. Flair, in my opinion,
that right there. That's pretty good, Ric Flair. Because MJF, he is the modern day Ric Flair. He's
in a lot of ways he is. Yeah,
he really is. You know what I mean? So Sting, Darby Allin. I mean, how much of a parallel are those two? I mean, it's like looking in the mirror. So come on, tell me that don't work.
Look, on paper, does it excite me? Sure. Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler of all time. But I don't.
Just think about this for 1 second.
I don't think. Would you let me? Okay.
Wait a minute, I'm not trying to cut you off
okay, go for it.
Cindy McCain. I'm not trying to do that. But just think for a second, how you felt. And you were a young kid. You didn't even know a whole lot about him. You still felt a certain way. Just think about how you felt when you heard the name Hoovy versus Jericho. How'd you feel about that?
I was excited.
So just think about it for 1 second. MJF and Ric Flair both donning the gold robes.
Look, I get it. It has an appeal to it. I see you have a devilish smile right now because you know why? You want to see it. You want to see it happen. That's why you're pushing so hard for this. But you know what? Like, I would love. Look, if you told me main event of Crown Jewel 2 is gonna be Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'm gonna get excited for it. Of course, I'm excited for it. It doesn't mean that it should happen.
Stone Cold, he ain't gonna be excited. Okay, I bet you that.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah, does it excite me on paper? Yes, obviously. But I don't think that and in all seriousness, would it be smart with all the stuff that Rick's gone through over the last 7 years, right? I mean, the hospitalizations, the scares.
Hell of a comeback.
One of the great best comeback he's ever had, right?
Come on. I mean, serious. I mean, the best comeback probably in the history of the game.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I just, how much do you want to tempt fate? You know what I mean? I don't want anything bad to happen to Ric Flair. Ric Flair does not need to be in a wrestling ring.
Look, bro.
Wrestling.
My thing is this here. If you're going to go out, you're going to go out. How you going to tell him? How you going to tell a man? How you going to tell a man that he can't go out and do it his way and walk out his way? You can't do it. You can't do it. So if the man wanted to wrestle one more time in your organization, you would tell him. In my
organization?
Yeah, you would tell him no. That's what you would tell him.
I'd have to see what the insurance quote would be first. How much do I need to pay to insure this match? Okay, maybe we'll look at it. Here's the thing, though. I saw that William Shatner has a new show where he goes and swims with sharks, right? William Shatner is 90 years of age. People are tuning into that show for one reason, to see if this old man's going to get eaten by a shark, right? That's why people are tuning in to see that show.
Look here, that's the only reason I tune in to see it. Because I've met William Shatner. But go ahead.
Well, let's not open that can of worms. But you're only tuning in to see something go wrong, right? And I wouldn't want to tune in to see Ric Flair, the greatest of all time, put himself in harm's way. No matter how awesome it would be to see him back in a wrestling ring, I just don't. I just can't. I just can't. Sometimes you just gotta let it go, right? Yeah. You gotta let it go.
Sometimes you do, man. But all right.
But I guess to use your analogy, right? Like, remember when President H.W. Bush was jumping out of the airplane at 90?
Yeah.
Right. And like, I guess in his mind, he was like, what's the worst that could happen? My chute doesn't open. Like, then I go out like a legend. President Bush dies, by jumping out of a plane, right? I guess there's a cool legendary thing to it. So it's what he wanted to do in his elder age. If it's what Rick wants to do, maybe. I just don't want to see it. I just don't want to see it.
I'm like this, man. It's like somebody telling me, man, you need to stop working out. Why do you got to work out now? You past that, man. You've done everything you wanted to do. Now you don't have to do that anymore. How's someone going to tell me that I can't get up and get in the gym and hang and bang and sling that iron like I used to? And why do I do it? Why do I do it? I do it for me. I don't do it for anybody else. I don't have anybody cheering me on to do it. I don't jump up under the bench and throw 275 on there, and say, man, let me just try to rack this out 5. Let me get 5, I do that for me. And I that's why I say, man, how you going to tell this guy at, however old he is, that he can't do it no more? The thing is, Bullet Bob Armstrong, when he finally said, look, man, I'm not taking no more damn treatments. You know what he posted on that day? Him in the gym working out. Man, that's inspiration right there. That just lets me know, man, doing it your way is so important. As a man, to the way, to the legacy you leave, the way you want to walk out of this. So I say, if he wanted to wrestle one more time, I would give him the opportunity. I really would. And I know a lot of people would probably say, man, I don't want to see that. That's not something I want to see. Well, it's not for you. It's for me. And that right there, man, I think is so important for people to think about when walking through this life, and whether what are you really doing it for? Why are you really doing it? The answer is very, very simple for me. You know what I mean? I do everything for myself and my family, and my God. That's about it. And those are the only people I got to please at the end of the day. So like I said, if he wanted to walk that aisle one more time, don the gold robe, because it's no other feeling like literally 20, 30,000, 50,000 people, giving you all of that love and you walking down. It's no feeling like that in the world. Trust me. I'll never be able to find that euphoria ever again from that perspective, ever. So to give him that opportunity, yeah, I would do it. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame.
And that's a stunning elbow to the face. Oh, and look at this. She just raking Angela's face across the middle. Oh, my goodness. That's hard to watch. Oh, man, what is she thinking? Oh, no. Top rope suplex. Superplex from the champion. If enough damage hasn't been done already to Angela, that has got to be the exclamation point. She's looking for the 450. Oh! From the top rope, she's calling for shooting star press. Star press. Shooting star press cover. 1, 2, 3. Sucker.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. I'm Booker T along with my man Brad Gilmore. We rolling, man. We rolling. Want to thank everybody inside the chat for rolling along with us. I see it's one chat here I want to mention. Be the Change 16. So you still have political aspirations. I see you hear me talking. And sometimes I sound like one of them old Baptist preachers. I just start rolling. But that is the ultimate goal, man. change the way things are looked at from a young perspective here in the city of Houston. That is the ultimate goal. But let's keep it rolling, man. Let's keep it rolling.
Let's keep it rolling. We do have a
super chat.
This comes from Shine Bright, who says, what do you think WWE's plans are going to be for Mia Yim? She's a SmackDown superstar, but we have not seen her yet on television. What do you think of Mia Yim?
Yeah, no, she had a name before she got there too. She's very, very popular. And I'm wondering myself, we haven't got a chance to actually get a taste of what Mia can bring to the table, just because I think she got stuck in the retribution thing right there off the bat. And that was, that's one of those things for me. When you put someone in a group like that, I have a group in Reality of Wrestling called Legion. And when I put people in that group, it's because they're new. They're just getting started. Trying to get them some recognition, trying to give them the rub. When Mia, was a part of Retribution, I just didn't think she needed to be a part of Retribution. I thought she had a chance to really contribute to the women's division from an in-ring perspective, because that's what these internet fans want to see from Mia. They want to see, what she did out there before she came to WWE. So I don't know what the plans are for her, but hopefully she's not one of those just waiting in the wings, and we're waiting to see if we can find something for her.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Mia Yim was one of the names that I saw all over social media before I ever saw her actually ever perform. And when I saw her actually do her thing, I was like, oh wow, I see what the buzz was about. She's a very quality performer. So I think it's in my opinion, now I don't run the show, obviously. I think it's just a matter of timing. Right. When we were at the SmackDown tapings, or the SmackDown live show, the one in Houston, I know that Zia Lee was one of the names that came out. Aaliyah, I'm not sure how she pronounces her name, was also another NXT star who got a look. Right. So they're looking at, from what I read also online, new people every single week to see, okay, who's ready, who's not, or do we have a spot for them? Oh, we could bring them in to do this. So I think it's probably a matter of time thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about her, but like you say, I know she was buzzing before she ever got there. So she obviously got signed for a reason. So we'll find out. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Now, one of the female names I saw that is potentially getting signed, maybe not to WWE, but to AEW, the former Ruby Riott is rumored to be joining All Elite Wrestling. She was another person who I thought was a major talent, in the sense of I never saw someone who had that kind of persona, right? She had that punk rock thing going on. Remember, she had like half of her head shaved at one point. She would wear like the one long tight and short tight. She had a really cool look, and she went out there and she could definitely do her job well enough to give her enough camera time. She had her own group for a while. So I was a Ruby Riott fan, but I will say this. I do think someone like Ruby Riott, her look, her character, her persona, I think personally would thrive more in an AEW style than a WWE style. She's kind of got like an anti-authority punk rock vibe to her that I think fits more the vision of that show than a Raw or SmackDown. But maybe I'm wrong.
No, you might be right on that. I mean, she definitely seemed like one of the females that could have a mean streak. She's someone that could, turn it on in the ring as well, as far as being not just one dimensional. She can go, she can perform. So you might be right. A lot of times when there's so many things to look at, you can get distracted. And I really think in WWE, a lot of times you could get distracted. And I say that because you look at a guy like Riddle, who come from the indie world as well, but really, really hot when he first came in there. But he see that now in that company, man, there's so many different moving parts. Can't just think about one thing. So you got to figure out how to get in the mix. So, Ruby Riott. Yeah, let's see exactly what she does, man. I'm going forward. But I see we got something, man.
All right. Yes. This is from Sumed B with the 100 rupees. 100 rupees.
Yeah.
Do you think Tony Khan should be aggressive in trying to get an Adam Cole on hearing of his free agency in order for it to be a ruthless business move? I mean, if I was Tony Khan and Adam Cole's a free agent, I'm going to be bullish on that. I'm going to try to get him signed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he would. It would be he would not be doing his job right if he did.
But I look at that two different ways, man. I don't think you can be too aggressive in trying to go out of your way to just try to sign talent. I think you got to be thinking about the direction and the infrastructure of your show in order to be successful. You just cannot think about, and the only reason I say that is because I was a part of WCW. I saw a guy sitting at home that was making $250,000 a year, and they didn't work more than 6 matches a year. And there were no angles, there were no programs or anything. And for me to have guys sitting on the roster is not the route I want to go. I know they're starting this new show, Rampage. I need everybody's ass working. Okay, no days off is what I need. And I need to build my talent roster that way. If Adam Cole was to become a free agent, could I use him on my team? Of course I could. But am I aggressively going to go after Adam Cole and say, hey, man, I got a $2 million contract for you, just sign? I'm not going to go that route unless I want to be the next WCW.
Okay. Well, there you go. I just think that if you can get Adam Cole, you at least make him an offer. If he's truly a free agent, you make him an offer.
No, that's not what of course
you're saying. I know. I understand what you're saying for sure. I get it.
Like I say, I saw a lot of guys got paid a lot of money that were nowhere. And the thing is, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to take the money. I'm not blaming those guys one bit. If I was one of those guys, I would have took the money too. So I'm just saying, from a business protocol, you got to be smart as far as how you go out there and try to navigate your way through the landmines of this business.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I can see that. You definitely don't want another WCW. Do you think that it's too quick for them to launch a second show?
No, not with the talent that they have on the roster, because right now, you're watching one show and you're only able to see so much in 2 hours.
Yeah.
To have another 2-hour product, it's great to be able to do something like that. But to be more importantly, to be able to utilize everybody on the roster. Every part of the machine got to be working at the same time. And that's my motto of a successful operation.
Yeah, I think that, especially with their recent
that's the reason why they needed me running TNA back in the day. Still be here.
We would still be a force.
A major force. It'll be major force. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I was running TNA, not to begrudge anyone who was, TNA would be a powerhouse right now today.
And what makes you so confident of that? I'm not saying that it wouldn't be, but why do you say that?
I say that because I've ran a small independent company now for 16, almost 17 years, something that no other wrestler I think have done as long as successful as I have. Knowing the pitfalls of the business, knowing that I'm not the smartest guy in the room and I need some help from this guy and that guy, because I know exactly what they bring to the table. Not someone that I got to think if they understand what's going on around here. So I just think the moving parts were there. Everything was in motion for TNA to be a successful wrestling company, the 6-sided ring, something that had never been seen in the business. The young guys, especially those overseas young guys. I'm not just thinking about here in the United States. I'm thinking about overseas, and overseas is the look for a show like Impact Wrestling. I just think things just wasn't in the right place.
Well, it's one of those things to where once you said it a million times. Once you let that moment pass, you can never get it back. And they had a good chance there for a minute. They definitely did. We have some super chats that we have to get to. I think that we're against a break. So should we take the break first and then come back for the super chats?
Yeah, man. Let's take the quick break, man. We're gonna be going about 30 seconds, guys. Stick around during the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
And your question for the win. In The Insider, Al Pacino's character works on which TV show?
Is it 60 Minutes?
And your winner!
The Movie Trivia Schmodown, the most competitive movie trivia league in the world.
It's MMA or boxing. It's like you want to see the two best scrapping it out.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
2 points. Movie release date.
Wow.
Danny DeVito.
That's correct. You mother! The rising sun! And your winner!
Championships, factions, the best in the world play here.
I'm ready to schmo down. Throw down with the schmo down.
Kevin Goodenough Smith!
This is why we play the Schmodown.
The professional sports league of movie trivia. This isn't bar trivia. This is the Movie Trivia Schmodown.
Shup! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man. Let's take those super chats. I know we got a couple of them. Let's get to them.
Yeah, this is from well, it's from called Cali Toenail. Cali Toenail, but didn't say anything.
Hey, man.
So make sure.
Hey, maybe that's just a tip to the show, man. We appreciate it. Everything goes to reality wrestling, man. Keeping the show moving in the right direction. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have another one here from
Super Chat.
Red Comet Man. Booker, you should hop Joe Cronin's show.
Okay. Who's Joe Cronin? Joe Rogan?
I'm not exactly sure. Not maybe Joe Rogan.
Maybe Joe.
Okay.
Joe Cronin. I don't know.
Not sure who Joe Cronin is.
I don't know who Joe Cronin is, but if he got a spot I can take, I would damn sure take it.
Okay, this is from
Super Chat.
Captain Zarg, the Supermorph, says, reckon Rick might want to wrestle on a TNT screen again. Yeah, we just talked about that. Absolutely.
Yeah. You never know, man. Seriously, that's my opinion. I really do think if he gets the opportunity to step inside those ropes, he's gonna do it, man. I got a phobia about being around a wrestling ring, man. I won't step nowhere within literally 50 feet, 50 to 100 feet of the ring, just because I don't know. I get sweaty palms and everything. I'm like, man, so for me, you ain't got to worry about me having any itch to scratch. It's done. Okay.
It's done. It's over with.
Forget about it.
Not talking about it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I still, if I was a betting man, I bet that we don't see Ric Flair wrestle a match. But that's just me.
I take that bet. If
we can have a gentleman's agreement on it. Then we'll have a gentleman's wager.
$100.
$100. Well, that's a little bit more
generous
than
wager,
gentleman.
man. $100,
Okay.
man. I mean, come on.
I'll own up to that. We can make it right now. On the show.
At the movie theater. Yeah, own up to it. All right.
$100. $100.
We see Ric Flair inside the square circle one more time.
Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Wait a minute. Within the next 365 days.
So you're going to give him a year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to
take
it that long. We got to give it that
I agree. And it's good to put a time limit on it. Okay. I take the bet. $100. $100. So somebody super chat me $100 real quick so I can cover this bet.
Yeah.
Just in case.
The reason I say that, I mean, Rick, clock is ticking. We gotta get this thing done quick.
If we do it, we got to do it now. Pronto.
Right
now. Let's see. We have another super chat here, and then we this is our final segment of the show, so we do need to talk a little UFC coming up this Saturday, UFC 265.
Beast going inside the octagon. I'm looking forward to it. Super chat.
Okay, this is from Eliza or Ocasio.
Yeah, Eliza. Yeah.
Eliza Procasio. Hey, Book, do you think a show on ESPN where you shoot about current wrestling news, like how you do this podcast, would help the business?
Heck yeah, man. I think wrestling is mainstream now. I mean, that's why we could be on ESPN and talk about wrestling now the way we do, because so many people love wrestling. Our highest driven numbers are when we talk about professional wrestling. So I think to be able to educate people a certain way and bring them inside the fold. I think people enjoy it a whole lot more. They'll get a whole, just like watching. My wife, she reads a lot of lines. She's always auditioning for roles, and then when she auditions for these roles, she go and watch the shows that she's auditioning for, and it totally gives her a totally different audience. You're looking at it from a totally different perspective. So yeah, to be able to be educated from a perspective to where you take something away from it other than just, these guys are just in the ring doing this because of whatnot, and I'm going to comment on it because of this, and I really don't know about it. Yeah, I think a show like this could help a whole lot. What do you think, Brett?
I think so. I think it'd be a good addition to the programming. I think that where WWE Backstage was a really fun show for someone like me to watch is you had professionals talking about the industry and different aspects of it that you don't really get to ever see on any other kind of programming for pro wrestling. So if we were able to sit down on television and just have the conversations that we have on this show or off this show for that matter, I think that would be a really fun experience for everybody around the professional wrestling landscape and be able to cover more than just what's going on in WWE. Cover out AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, reality wrestling, the independents.
I tell you, that's the element that I wanted to, that backstage, I wanted it to have. I wanted to be able to talk about independent wrestlers that's coming up that's really, really hot. Give those guys a rub, because like I said, the independent world is huge. To be able to talk about what's going on in New Japan, to have a story about that, to make it like literally ESPN, talking about sports, but wrestling in sports entertainment around the world. I think that show right there gives you the viewer, the fan that's watching it, so much more to chew on when you're actually watching the show, because now you're invested in what's going on, the characters. You wondering, man, how are they creating them, and now you the participation factor goes up tenfold. So yeah, I think a show like this works all around. Why do you think we're here? We're the Hall of Fame. We're on a show like this, and more importantly, we're the best. That's the main thing.
Only show that matters. Cali Toenail, this was his question that he did super chat in. Being from one of the best tag teams of all time, what's your take on the tag team division now? We used to have too many teams to name, and business was booming. Now I sometimes forget who even has the belts.
Yeah, man. Tag team wrestling was something you watched the show for back in the day. You didn't just watch it because you knew you was going to see some good singles wrestling. You didn't watch it because you're going to see the women here and there. You watched it because you knew it was going to be a great tag team on that card. And for me, watching tag team wrestling from a young kid, Rock and Roll Express was the first tag team that captured my heart, along with the Midnight Express. Oh man, those guys really brought it to another level. And of course, the Road Warriors came along and changed the whole name of the game. And Doom, Butch Reed and Ron Simmons, and then of course the most nemesis tag team, probably in the history of the game, Harlem Heat came along. And and the thing is, I love what we were a part of, the Nasty Boys, the British Bulldogs. Those names, man, are synonymous when it comes to professional wrestling, tag team professional wrestling. So yeah, I think it's different because I think we looked at it from a totally different perspective back in the day than they look at it today. No diss or anything. I'm just talking about the different eras. But I think we looked at tag team wrestling like, man, this is just as big as being the tag team championships was just as big as being the world heavyweight championship if you was a good tag team.
And I always like to point this out. If you go back and you look at WWE cards from the 1980s and early 90s, the main event would always be a tag match every single time. And it would be after Hogan. Hogan would do his thing, and then they're like, let's put the Rockers versus
You do know why they did that, right?
So Hogan could get to the next town?
Hogan had a flight to catch.
But they didn't just put any match out there. They put a great tag match. I think that says something.
Tag team wrestling back then, the fans looked at it like it was main event, like it was top notch. So yeah, man, I do wish we had more tag teams today. I wish they were more homegrown though, opposed to just thrown together and put out there and called a tag team.
I agree.
We got to get ready to get up out of here. But before we do, UFC 265 going down. I see we got another super chat.
Yeah, I'm just going to say real quick, Red Comet Man says he's not Joe Rogan. He's a YouTuber that covers pro wrestling. And then we had Clorox Bleach that said, with all due respect, Hardy's best tag team of all time. Okay.
You know what? I like the Hardys. I like the Hardys, but I'll tell you, if they would have walked down 110th Street, we'd have whooped their ass all the way. Hey, man, UFC 265 going down this weekend. The Black Beast will be stepping inside the octagon with Cyril Young. I'm looking so forward to that. The co-main event, Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes. That fight was canceled due to COVID. Amanda Nunes came down with COVID-19. Who did they replace that with?
They haven't announced any replacement. Jose Aldo's fight got put into this co-main event.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to getting down there. Toyota Center going down this weekend. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Right now, protocols are back. All masks will be required inside the Toyota Center. That kind of throws a monkey in the wrench. But there again, I'm looking forward to getting down there. What's your take on that fight right there? How do you think the Beast going to do?
It would be hard for me to say that the Black Beast isn't going to go out there and win the title, the interim title.
Yeah.
Inside the Toyota Center in his hometown. That's going to be my pick. That's who I'm going with. Most knockouts in UFC history. Let's add another one to his belt.
All right. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to count Cyril out. This guy came up out of the ashes, man. He seemed like he just came out of nowhere. And now he's putting himself in the position to go out and become interim champion. He's got a lot of people looking at him as being perhaps the next touted to be one of the guys that's going to do big things in the UFC. So Cyril versus the Black Beast going down Toyota Center this weekend, guys. UFC 265. I will be there. Bradley, you'll be there.
Sir.
And, we'll definitely be sending you guys some live, whatever they do on Twitter and whatnot. So stick around for that. But guys, everybody in the chat, man, we appreciate you guys a whole lot. Also, tomorrow, do not miss out on the second part of the interview that I got with Will Ospreay. The Indies with Booker T, 6 p.m. Central tomorrow on YouTube /Reality of Wrestling. If you don't have it, download it, man. Get the, hit the little button and whatnot. But I want to thank you guys, man. Bradley, as always, we appreciate you, man. We out of here.
Can you dig it, you sucker?